Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden and do another one of the beers from a really quite good brewery in my opinion. We're going to return to All In Brewing and we've got their beer tonight, which is a grapefruit IPA, and it's called the Purpose of Grapefruit. Now when I looked on Rate Beer I saw that there was one called the Purpose of IPA Grapefruit, and I'm not sure if this is the same beer. The one that I saw was listed as being a 7% IPA, but on the back it says that this guy is 6.5%, so I'm not sure if it's intended to be a different beer or if this is just simply a different batch of that beer. I really amn't sure about that, and I couldn't find it through the Facebook or anything like that, so I'm really not sure about this one. But I think what we can safely assume with All In Brewing is that it is going to be a very good beer. All In brew some really quite awesome stuff, and the other version of this beer I saw was rated at 94, so I'm sure this one will be a pretty good beer as well. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward as always. There's all the usual links in the description below, the brewery website, the link to my other All In reviews, and all the usual social media, so do go and check those out. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel, and to those of you watching in Sweden, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other Swedish beers and breweries that you'd like me to review. The standard of beer in Sweden is very high, so I'd love to hear what you guys think. But anyway, to tell you about All In Brewing. So there are 8 people involved in running this brewery, including 3 brewers, and they started up in 2012 under the guidance of Pelle Frost. Their first beer was released in 2012 as well, and this one was a collaboration with Italian brewery Toccolmato. I've never tried any Toccolmato stuff actually. I need to have a look and see if I can get a hold of one of their beers. But they plan to have their own brewery in the future, but right now they're a phantom brewery, which seems to be the term that is used in Sweden. The Danish use the word Gypsy Brewers, the Swedes use the word phantom brewer. But this means that they brew at a variety of host institutions, if you like. It's the same concept as Gypsy Brewing essentially. But in the early years they travelled Europe making collaboration beers with a lot of other companies, but more recently they've been brewing a lot of their own beers in Sweden. They first started brewing with Brewski in Helsingborg, and one of the brewers involved with this company, Lucas, actually worked full time at Brewski, brewing both All In and Brewski beers. But since brewery are working at full capacity with their own products, most of their beers are now brewed at the West Coast Brewery in Gothenburg, and there are 2 brewers there that brew both the West Coast beers and the All In beers. You've seen me review a few of the West Coast beers recently as well, so they're not so much phantom brewers anymore since they brew their own beers as such, but just in different places. And the West Coast Brewery, some of those beers are pretty awesome as well, so I would recommend that you check those out. But the 3 brewers involved here are Lucas, Victor and Andreas, and they've always been into the big fruity hoppy American style IPAs, but they do also enjoy their imperial stouts as well. And Victor and Andreas are the original guys, while Lucas was headhunted from another brewery and he's actually now their head brewer. But they do work as a team to create their beers, and last year they were actually voted, or 2014 I should say, it's 2016 now, but last year they were voted by one of the top 100 brewers in the world by Rate Beer. A very good accolade for craft brewers, of course. But every year they actually have their own beer festival in Gothenburg, which is called the All In Beer Fest. And in 2015 they had 1,700 visitors and over 30 different breweries participating from around the world. They say it's super geeky, but the All In guys have a bar in Gothenburg together, and some of the guys behind the Dugas Brewery are involved there too. And this one is called Brewer's Beer Bar, so if you find yourself in Gothenburg and you want to try some local beer, I guess you should head there. But a good number of the beers you'll get from these guys are collaborations. They've collaborated with Lervig in Norway, Toccolmato in Italy, Mohawk, who are another one of the Swedish kind of phantom breweries, the Dugas Brewery, who are up near Gothenburg as well, Brewski obviously, who are in Helsingborg, Beerbibliotek, who are also Gothenburg, De Molen, who are the Netherlands, Stigbergets, which is another Swedish brewery, Stronzo, which I think are Danish, and also the West Coast Brewery as well. So these guys are a very collaborative brewery, but the beers they do produce are pretty awesome, so I would recommend that you try some of these. But anyway, that's enough about All In Brewing. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer. So this one is 6.5%, it's an IPA. I'm not sure whether they've added grapefruit to this one or not. I really couldn't find much detail on the actual specs of this beer itself, so it should be quite interesting. It says brewed by All In Brewing at West Coast Brewery, sold by Beer Me. So yeah, it should be quite nice. I'll let you have a little quick look at the artwork before we open it up. You can see this is quite a plain one compared to some of the other ones you'll get from All In Brewing. I was really impressed with their wheat beer. I think it was called Wheat Seems to Be the Officer Problem, something like that. You can see there's the All In bottle cap with the flower on this one. And yeah, no, I tried the Big Blind as well. That was a really good, I forget if it was a double IPA or an IPA, but it was a really good beer nonetheless. So yeah, the stuff that you get from All In Brewing are the beers you'll get are very good. So I would recommend these guys if you want to try some Swedish beers. But yeah, as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this one. But this one was part of the small portier beers from Systembolaget on the 2nd of March 2016. So I bought this beer then. You'll be seeing this review about a month or so later actually. I've got a bit of a backlog at the moment. But this beer was brought along with the brewski one you saw in the last video at that point. So it's quite fresh when I'm drinking it. It's only a day old actually, or 2 days old since I bought this beer. So it should be very fresh. So as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice golden colour. It does have a good bit of transparency to it. It is a little bit opaque too. If I put my hand behind it, you can see it is quite opaque in colour. There's a solid finger and a quarter of a frothy white head on this one. There is a little bit of bumpiness to it as well, but overall it looks really nice. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head. So it looks really nice. Let's have a smell and see how we get on. Yeah. So from this one, as you would expect when it's called the Purpose of IPA Grapefruit, or the Purpose of Grapefruit, as I say, I'm not sure what the exact name of this beer is. What you're getting is grapefruit. Big surprise. But it's nice and juicy. There is a little bit of citrusy character just underneath that. But I want to say there's a little bit more of maybe some sort of pineapple or something like that in this one. There is a little bit more complexity to the tropical fruit character than simply grapefruit. When you sugar it up, you can definitely pick out a little bit more of the juicy character from this beer. It's not mangoes, it's not papaya or peaches or anything like that. Maybe it's pineapple or maybe a little bit of passion fruit, something like that, but the grapefruit juicy character is definitely present in this one. And from the aroma, I suspect they might have added some grapefruit juice or grapefruits to the brew or something like that. It doesn't smell quite as pungent as you would normally get from a beer that is simply hopped to be grapefruity. It has a bit more of that kind of more juicy quality to it, and that's maybe where some of the complexity in that tropical aroma is coming from. You always get the same in the mouthfeel too. If a beer has fruit added to it, it's a lot more juicy around the edges of the palate. And I suspect that's what it's going to be like. But underneath that, you can pick up some floral and aromatic characters. There is a bit of sweetness to the malt base as well, maybe some biscuity or even caramel malt in this one. It's a little bit bready, but yeah, it's really nice actually. Smells really good. Don't think I've missed anything on the aroma there. Definitely a little bit of pine resin, some floral aromaticity, bit of smoother grassy character too, some citrusy hop, the grapefruity character. There's a little bit more complexity to it as well, but I suspect they've added grapefruit juice or something to this brew just by the aroma. But yeah, some nice malty sweetness in there too. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this beer. So this one's a 6.5% IPA, the Purpose of Grapefruit, or the Purpose of IPA grapefruit version from All In Brewing, and this one was brewed at West Coast Brewery up near Gothenburg. Skål. Now that is a nice beer. That is definitely quite a nice beer, this one. It's not as hoppy as I was expecting, right enough. This one is interesting. It doesn't say on the side what the IBU this one is, but it's remarkably smooth, but you still get some really nice fruity character in this one. A lot of these beers, some of the IPAs and things, they're just kind of hopped to oblivion, but this one has just found a really nice level of hopping, and all the flavours are just sitting there. You've got a bit of pine resin in there. Usually it's pine resin and floral aromaticity that usually bombard the tongue, but here they've just found a really nice level of it actually, and the fruity flavours just come out at the front of the tongue, while the sides of your tongue have a little bit of that pine resiny floral aromaticity, and it works really well. I can see why this beer is highly rated. It's not one that goes all out for bitterness, but it kind of goes it just kind of goes for the flavour side of things. It's really nice. I was ready to say all in for flavour there, but that would be a bit kind of cliche actually. That would be the point where I would have to point out that I'm not affiliated with any brewery in the world. But yeah, it's nice actually. This is a really good beer. I think if you enjoy these IPAs that are a bit more blended and they take a bit more care with the flavour rather than just bittering the hell out of it, you will definitely enjoy this one. This has got a really nice blend of flavours in there. The malt base on this one is more bready. There's not too much of the caramel sweetness and biscuity side of things that I was picking up from the aroma, but we'll just pay attention to that and see what we get. Maybe just a little bit of a malty sweetness there. If anything, it's a little bit of biscuit. It's not really a rich caramel or anything. I think the malt base in this beer is more bready, but there could just be a little underlying sort of biscuity, syrupy flavour to this beer. As I say though, it's very nice. This is one of the nicest. This is definitely a kind of session IPA for me. This one is one that you could sit down and have a few of just because of how nicely blended the flavour is. It actually reminds me back home, one of the breweries that I really enjoy is Williams Brothers, because they do these really nice, light, sessionable beers that are full of flavour, and this one really reminds me of some of their beers. So maybe there is a little bit of nostalgia in this review. But it's really nice. Like I say, the middle of your palate is a nice bready malt base in there. It just goes right across the middle of your tongue. Perhaps there's a little bit of a biscuity character just on top of that. I can get just a little bit of a slightly biscuity, syrupy sweetness to this beer. Around the edges of your palate, as I said, you've got that floral aromaticity, a little bit of piney resin maybe too, and that just bombards the side of your tongue. As you go around the front of the palate, I'd say there's a floral character there, but it's a little bit more grassy than the side of the palate. But overall it's very nice. If you just go behind the front of the tongue there, there's a nice juicy grapefruit character, and it just lingers there. It actually starts to spread towards the back of your palate too. You can feel the grapefruity flavours actually spreading in this one. So if you enjoy grapefruit flavours in your IPAs, then you will enjoy this one, because it is almost exclusively grapefruit. There's not too much. There's maybe a little bit of a kind of generic sort of citrus character. It's not really leaning towards the orange, it's not really leaning towards the lemon. It's just a little bit of that kind of generic citrusy character that comes with sort of floral aromaticity, but it really does lean towards the grapefruit. But that said, it's a very nice, well blended, sessionable IPA. This one at 6.5% too. You can get a little bit of alcohol warmth from it, but not too much. It's definitely a nice, enjoyable, kind of sessionable beer, this one. But not too bitter at the same time. It works really nicely. It's just got that nice level of bitterness for me. So yeah, I would recommend you try this one if you like. For example, those of you watching back in Scotland, if you like Williams Brothers beers, I would recommend, especially the light ones. You will enjoy this beer. If you like light, sessionable yet hoppy beers, you will enjoy this. In terms of the mouthfeel, I'd say with this one, light to mid-bodied, definitely with that. The carbonation is a little bit active, but not too much. Really quite smooth actually. There's a little bit of an oily mouthfeel to this one. Yeah, definitely a little bit of an oily mouthfeel to this. It helps bring out some of the bready flavours. Maybe a little bit of just that biscuity sweetness that's in there. But overall, it's well balanced between the dry side of things with the hops and also a little bit of that malt base too. Overall, it is a very, very good beer. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again, but usually when it comes to reviewing beers, I like to review all different beers, so I don't know whether I'll get that chance. But if I go up to Gothenburg and saw this on tap and I wanted a few beers, certainly I would do that. But yeah, no, another really, really good beer from All In Brewing. I can see why some of the Swedes really recommend that I review as many of these beers as possible, because they produce some pretty damn awesome stuff. I've not had a bad beer from them yet. I've tried 3 so far, but I'm sure I'm not going to be disappointed. I really want to try one of their dark beers next, because all of the ones I've reviewed have been the lighter beers as far as a wheat beer, the double IPA, and now this one. So I need to get a stout or something like that and see how they get on with brewing the dark beers as well. So hopefully that can be my next all-in beer if I can find it. But yeah, go and check out this one if you enjoy the likes of Williams Brothers, the kind of light, hoppy, sessional beer. So this has been the Purpose of Grapefruit from All In Brewing in Gothenburg. Really, really nice beer once again. If you enjoy nice, sessionable IPAs, I can see you really enjoying this one. A very good blend of flavours. But yeah, as always, thank you again for watching my beer reviews. If you have tried this one for yourself, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys. If you're from Sweden, let me know some of the other beers from this brewery, of course, that you like as well, and also further afield in Sweden. Really great to hear from you guys. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out the social media things, but most importantly, go and try some All In Brewing beers and let me know what you think of them. Slange just now, and I will catch you soon. Go and check out All In from Gothenburg. Skål!